Hello everyone and welcome to Kahenge. And of course joining me are the wonderful Gosher sisters. We got Ginza.
Hello.
And Minahil.
Hi.
And today's episode is going to be a comic one. It's called Questions We Got Growing Up. So let us begin.
Oh my god.
Ginza, how do you pronounce your name correctly? Kinza, how do you pronounce your name correctly?
Is it Kinza or is it Kinze?
And how do you pronounce your name correctly?
Minahil.
Minahil. And I'm
Minahil.
I'm Taha.
Did I get it right?
I probably butchered this, but like...
yeah, it's alright though. I'll continue to call you Todd.
Todd.
But you have to appreciate the unless it's the obvious, skeptic ones or the weird ones, but you have to appreciate the effort.
Of course.
I gained so many nicknames out of all these pronunciations that people had. It's not even funny.
Minahil was one.
But one very funny question. Am I doing this right? Am I pronouncing this right?
And that's with all good intentions that they do that, right? It's not it's just that for us it becomes something that we like to talk about when we get home.
Yeah.
It's like Ammi, Abu, Mom, Dad, guess what this person called me? And that's not my name.
Part of everyday routine though. It's become
It kind of has, right?
Fatima isn't here, but Fatima?
Fatima?
Or Fatima. Yeah.
So that was one of the questions out of the millions that we got growing up, and maybe continuing now, we'll probably get these questions still.
Yes.
But I think the biggest one that breaks all boundaries is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Did your parents force you to go to med school? Oh, you're not in med school. Do you want to be a lawyer? An engineer? Or you want to be a stay-at-home brown mom?
Oh, no. Are they gonna... Oh, you're 24. Are they gonna force you to get married now?
Yeah. Does that mean you have to find does that mean you're gonna find someone for you now?
Oh, wait, you're going to Pakistan or India over your summer break? Are you gonna come married?
Or do you have somebody already that you're married to over there?
Yeah. By birth?
What?
Yeah, same. That ring you're wearing. Is that from your wife to be? Well, you got that wrong on many levels.
No, but this is a legit question that I've gotten that people saying that, oh, does that mean you have to get arranged marriage? That's literally what people say flat out.
I think what people understand is that in the South Asian peninsula or the subcontinent, there's so many cultures within cultures that do things very differently. And when you take that overseas and bring it here and you want to raise a family that's sort of more modernized and wants to move forward with things a little bit and not have 1,000 years of culture behind them, it's tough because it's a mix of things. You got religion, culture, you got different heritages, and some people like arranged marriages while others don't. So you got to respect that, I guess. Yeah. But the thing is, what's portrayed in Bollywood and in Hollywood is that every single desi South Asian person is arranged marriage or marries their cousin.
Yeah.
And it's that's just not the case. Right, I mean, maybe it was, but not really anymore. Things are changing.
Still, in the entertainment movies and films and stuff, they still show it as the arranged marriage as being the norm over there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was just getting so annoying because that's not what our culture is all known for, and it's become this thing, right? It's become this thing of it's now become synonymous, unfortunately, with Pakistan or India. I'm not gonna, I'm not one of those people that I will always see the positive in things, but even the Oscar that Sharmeen Obed, do you remember it? She won. She won it on the documentary of girls being forced to do this or that. And there's so many more cool things that are the creators from our countries make. Unfortunately, that will never be seen on the big screen, or at least now up till now are not, and it's because that it's the sad forced parts of the culture that make it big. I don't know what it is. Is it
Absolutely. You're absolutely
the negative topics,
Yeah,
why is it the negative? Or my absolute... Now, actually, we just turn the TV off whenever we see a Muslim or somebody that looks like us being portrayed as a terrorist or something like that.
It's getting really annoying.
It's getting really annoying.
Yeah.
It's old news. It's no one believes that anymore.
And like another thing that it's not a question that we got, but like just a statement or a judgment that we got. Yeah. Oh, you're one of the good ones.
Yeah. Oh my god. The microaggressions that are within that sentence, people don't get. They're like trying to defend themselves, being like, "Oh, you're one of the good ones." Yeah, but understand that that's also offensive.
Yeah. Extremely.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, what does that mean?
What does that even mean?
Like, and then like, oh, that just reminds me. You don't wear a headscarf.
Yeah.
Oh.
I saw on Twitter somebody call it an Allah hat.
I saw a Twitter ninja gown. I was on the floor.
Ninja gown.
Even the fruit ninja animation. It's too round. It looks like a niqab.
Oh,
but anyways, I'm sorry.
That's so funny.
No, but the thing is, like, the worst is like my sister-in-law wears a hijab, and like a lot of my family members, my cousins wear hijab, and it's like, no, they weren't forced to wear it. They did it by choice, and it's actually a really respectful decision, in my opinion, because they believe that their beauty is a gem and it's reserved for their significant other, and I think that is so beautiful. But what people don't understand by popular opinion is that, oh, this is oppression. Yeah. Oppression's definition isn't something that someone does to their attire by choice. Last time I checked, Merriam-Webster. Right? Like, I'm pretty sure oppression doesn't mean that, right? No. Or a scarf that, someone put on by their choice.
You make a very good point.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's not about the clothing. Oppression means something very, very different. But it's only, like I said, now these things or these terms are being now termed to be synonymous with people from, or like Pakistan or Islam or Muslims, that is like, that's ignorance. Mm-hmm. There's no other way to say it, right?
Or the other side of it is like, oh, you don't wear hijab, or you don't for guys you wear shorts that are above your knees. Right. That means that you're not religious automatically. That's not the case. Someone can be very spiritual. Their clothing or the way that they act even doesn't reflect their spirituality. So please stop judging people for not showing their religion on their clothes. Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's for a long time, because I wear my traditional garb for about 9 or 10 years now, as you guys know, people misinterpreted that as, oh my god, you're probably extremely religious. Yeah. I'm like, no, I just enjoy my heritage, and the fact that you don't understand the boundary between heritage, clothing, arts, music, culture, and religion, spirituality, personal connection to God, and things like that it's absurd. You cannot just combine the both. Yes, there's overlap. But things are moving forward, and we're understanding that spirituality is a fluid part of one's self journey. It's not a part of thousands and thousands of years of what we're being told to do. Exactly. Now it's about interpretation.
Exactly. Yeah, and thank God, like we see female athletes such as Olympians.
Oh yes, Ibtihaj Muhammad.
Exactly. Yeah. And swimmers and other people doing that. Nike doing doing that whole hijab thing. It was really nice. So we do see all of that happening. It's just that I think that knowledge has not trickled down yet to the masses who like, I think I was in high school when I was asked, oh yeah, no, you don't wear the hijab? Yeah. Or, are you ever punished for that? Or like beaten? Like somebody actually asked me that.
I was just asked last semester by my, philosophy professor. I was just dressed.
Of all people.
I was just dressed how I just normally dress, with jeans and stuff. And he's like, now, we were just talking about like our cultures and where we're from. Yeah. And he's like, now, would you dress like that back home? Just like that. And it's not even I was like showing any skin or anything. Yeah. He's like, now would they let you dress like that back home? And I was like, I don't even know how to answer that question. Like, what do you even mean by that question?
Oh my god. I don't even know that of it in itself is kind of like a microaggression too. And it's funny how the professor doesn't understand that.
Or like just last week, I was asked by my other professor, because she was like, now, where are you from? Like, forget where you're from. And I was like, oh, I'm from Pakistan. And she's like, how's the politics there? Like, that's the first thing that came to her mind. Not even anything. She doesn't even know I was born there or anything. Just nothing. She's like, now how's the politics there?
Not how's your family. How's the politics there? As if you're responsible for all governmental policies because you represent that country in that classroom.
No, do you understand the whole India and Pakistan conflict, which is the most favorite thing to talk about by all Americans
talking about that
ever? It's because you're Muslim and obviously India hates you, and the whole
and obviously there are no Muslims in India.
I mean, don't you understand? You're supposed to have all the answers ever.
Yes.
To describe this, like, 70-year plus war.
Exactly. The same clothing professor that asked me why I'm wearing these clothes or whatever. In the same class, there was this, which I'm friends with him now, this Indian kid. And so he pointed to us both and he wanted us both to come together and then explain to the class what is going on in Pakistan.
As if you guys have some hate.
And I've never talked to the kid before. Ever. And he's like, but you guys are friends, right? And I was like, oh my God, just shut up. And then after class he came to me and he like introduced himself and I was like, yeah, like I'm from there, whatever. But it's just like the first questions that come to people's mind that are so funny. I'm like, is that what you think? Like the first thing that comes to your mind is that. So hilarious.
Can you believe this? Honestly. No, and like you said, these are not even questions we got growing up.
These are questions we still get.
I mean, I don't. And, you know, even the question, right? Like, where are you from? I literally answer and I say, oh, I'm from Long Island.
You know? That's what I say, yeah.
Because, like, I'm here. I am a U.S. Citizen, right? Mm-hmm. I'm here to stay. What do you want me to say? Where are you really from?
Oh my God. When they add that, it's just over. Yeah. It's funny how words are so powerful. I mean, obviously, because we're doing a podcast, we understand the power of words, right? Yeah. But look, adding, no, where are you really from? Or saying, no, where are you from?
Where are you from? That's my favorite one.
I'm like, what? Or asking, what's up with the politics there? You could have said political climate that you're not responsible for. I don't know. I mean, no one's ever going to say that. But you know what I mean? Like, words are very
like, ask me about food. Ask me about, like, other stuff. It was like, politics is the first thing.
Or assuming things starting. Like, of course politics are the first thing that they talk about. Or when they assume something about a subject. Is your food spicy? Instead of asking, what is your food like? Yeah. You know what I mean? This power, there's power in words.
Or just being imposing and be like, oh, I love naan.
Yeah, I know. What if you're a roti person?
I know. I love butter chicken.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
What if you don't like butter chicken? Jeez.
So funny. And so this is something that our non-Desi friends who are listening to this can also...
They can relate to it as well. I'm sure they'll get a laugh out of this.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, you know, unfortunately, it's not nice to, like, you know, go up to a person who looks Hispanic, of a Hispanic ethnicity, and say, where are you really from? His whole generations could have been, like, here for ages, and you're asking where he's from, or you're telling him, you know, I like tacos too. Like, how stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that example because guess what? It gets worse. You know why?
Why?
Because some people don't even ask where you're from. They just come up to you and start speaking Spanish. That happened to me and my brother all the time because we don't particularly look like the India-Pakistan painted version of what we're supposed to look like. Right. And because we're like lighter skinned, they come up to us and they think that we're European. I'm like, you know, I mean, I took 4 years of Spanish. Do I remember a lot of it? No, that's very embarrassing to say on the podcast. But Spanish professor, if you're listening, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Stick. Anyways, but like that type of thing, it happens with a lot of people when they're working. Like when I was working at Target, some person would just come up to me and they're like, Ahlan wa sahlan. I'm like, oh my God, I know what that means. Why are you speaking Arabic to me?
Yeah. Oh, right. Also at Target, I was called to the little office or whatever they had, and they were like, oh, we need some Arabic help. Can you help us? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, I know how to read it, and that's what I tell people. They're like, oh, that doesn't help. I'm like, I know, so why are you calling me?
It's like, they didn't even ask me. They were like, oh, we need some Arabic help, like, can you help us? And I was like, I can read it if you want me to, but I don't know what I'm going to be saying. So funny.
It's funny how the dynamic works with language and sort of assuming certain things about our culture. The other thing that people assume is that all of our parties and stuff are like, separated, like the men and women are separated at all times, and that's actually not the case. The place where that comes from is religious areas like temples or mosques or gurdwaras. There's a purpose for having, for chivalry, for however you say that word, or being civil. Having that boundary that, they're on two sides of a room. It's like a respect thing, right?
Exactly.
However, when you assume that we can't talk to the opposite gender,
right.
That's when it's like you haven't studied, you don't know what you're talking about.
100% agreed. And unfortunately, that's we have to understand that, when you're in places of worship where you're absolutely right where that comes from, it's because you go to the place of worship because there's only one purpose, right? Like worshiping. And you're, right? Like there is no other, you would not go there to socialize. You would not go there to, even though our places of worship are used for special events that are used for socializing, etc.
But your primary purpose
is to go there for worshiping, etc. So like that's where the whole thing comes from. Now, some families, if they so choose to do so, they can implement that, in their parties or gatherings.
I just don't go to those ones. Sorry.
Same. But it's offensive to assume that, or say that, oh, I can't, is that how it's set up? Or, why is that how you do your wedding parties or events and stuff like that? It's not always the case.
It's not always the case.
Not anymore anyways. Right. I haven't seen that much.
But the cases also change a lot over time, right? So like, for example, if you're from a medical or scientific background, you know that sexuality is on a fluid scale.
Right.
So it's by segregating men and women, you're not putting any blindfolds on attraction. Attraction will always be there.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is not to get into the whole thing about like love or attraction, but the thing is, like, what I don't understand is by the clothes that people wear or the places that you go with or without the opposite gender, the same gender, I don't think it makes a difference per se, because love should be, in my opinion, with connection and attraction, mutual connection and attraction, not from one side. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I believe that it's something that we should work on changing. I mean, I know it's going to take a lot of time because there's thousands of years of culture that condition this. But just because a woman wants to wear something that is quote unquote exposing or showing too much quote unquote skin, it's just skin, guys. Anyways, it doesn't mean that person is asking for it.
Right.
I find that highly offensive, that when people go around like telling people, oh, he's in a muscle shirt, like he's an F-boy.
Right.
Like clothing for me is a way of expression, okay? And attraction, to me, this is my opinion, is something that is a mutual connection and
right.
Exactly.
And together.
Yeah. And then you bring that into our culture specifically, and people have a lot to say about what you wear,
or if you hug your cousin or shake your hands with your cousin that's the opposite gender, they're like, oh my god, they're getting married, that's probably why they're no, it's just a greeting,
right?
It's just a hug, it's just a handshake. However, I do understand that people who choose to be very religious, they don't like to touch,
exactly,
right? Which is something I respect, and I gauge that when I see them. If they're leaning in, if they're not leaning in, then you don't go for a hug. These are things that we need to respect, because we can't impose our ideas on them, because how much would we like if they impose their ideas on us?
100%. Yeah. I actually learned that lesson not in here, even in the United States, but like also in Pakistan, where one of our principals there, he was he was amazing. Like, he actually was American, and then he went over there, and it was like a debate championship that we had won or something, and I was like, hey, I extend my hand for a handshake, and I said, thank you so much. And he chose not to shake that hand because obviously I was his female student, and I didn't take that personally. I kind of understood what that was coming from, so like I just kind of like bowed my head in respect instead. Like, I feel like there's ways to understand and respect other people's beliefs without passing a judgment on them.
And also adjusting. The beautiful thing about that moment, Kinza, was your understanding of the situation. Because you took that moment that you could have turned it into something negative if you were that type of person, but you're not. I know you. But the fact that you understood why this happened, it makes a big difference, which is one of the main reasons we're talking about this today anyways, is so we can understand that not the things that happen to us for a reason, and those experiences are actually lessons to adjust with different all types of people. If we talk about inclusivity on this podcast, we're going to practice it as well. You could bet on that.
100%.
So the other thing that this subject reminds me of is people asking us about arranged marriages.
Right.
I mean, because in popular media, like, I guess Indian culture, Bollywood, Pakistan, when they hear these things, it's like, okay, they either marry their cousin or it's an arranged marriage. There's no in between. And that's what kind of bothers me. It's like, you don't just assume that this is going to happen, end all be all. That's it. Things are changing now. Yeah. That's all I have to say about it. What about you guys?
Yeah, no, like we said before, like I said before, it is still portrayed like that we have to get arranged marriage and there's like no other way. But also, this also connects to what we were saying, adjusting and adaptation. Some people still practice the idea of arranged marriage and they believe in it. So I don't think that it should be looked upon and like judged upon. But definitely it's getting lesser and lesser. Even back home in Pakistan, people aren't, it's not that big anymore, arranged marriage. People are looking and parents are pushing their kids to look for.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. There's a change in trends, but you know, that's in anything we always see a change. However, I believe that, look, you can do whatever you believe in. That's cool. Like, that's your right. However, if the party isn't agreeing with it, then I think it's a problem. Like, if you're imposing that the kid, no, you have to marry this cousin, and both parties, even one of the parties, even one of them is like, no, I don't want to marry this person, or I don't want to get an arranged marriage, parents better adjust to that.
100%.
They better, because I've seen so many problems happen.
In like the more poorer parts of our country, that's not even an option for the kids.
Because they haven't had the exposure to, unfortunately, they haven't had the exposure to an education where they explore ideas that they haven't been taught for thousands of years.
And that's where these questions arise from, right? Like, when we come here and we laugh these questions off, right? When people ask us like, okay, are you going to get arranged marriage or something like that by just looking at the color of our skin or how we look? But obviously the basis of these questions are that they have been part of the culture or tradition really for a while. And it hasn't had that trickle down effect yet to masses that are not educated or know better, basically. So
it's a lot of conditioning.
Exactly.
It's a lot of conditioning. I mean, look, that's the conditioning part of things. However, if we look at us or you know, Desi South Asian people who live elsewhere, overseas, or they're trying to modernize their culture a little bit, we see that for them, they don't realize that they have a lot of privilege. We come from a place of privilege when we're saying that we can laugh upon something. Right. You know what I mean? We forget that.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, regardless of trickle down or conditioning, for us, it's like, okay, yes, we can condition and recondition, but it's also like, we have to realize that we have a thread of privilege when we're 100%. When we're even attempting to change something.
Exactly.
Which I think is very important. So our next topic is about language and not the usage of words. I mean, like, world languages.
Right.
There's many languages across the world, right? However, when you come from a place that is so tightly connected with neighboring countries with similar languages, you get a lot of questions. Growing up, they're always like, oh, Muslim, Arabic.
Right.
Oh, you watch Bollywood movies? You only speak Hindi or Punjabi.
Right.
These are assumptions that we create. Do you realize, and now this is a question to you guys, to myself and our listeners, how many languages there are in South Asia? Sindhi, Bengali, Punjabi, Pashto, Saraiki, Urdu, that's what we speak. Hindi,
it's so
Tamil, Telugu.
There's so many that we probably don't even know about.
This will be its own episode if I continue listing.
Right.
Balochi.
Someone stop me.
Yeah. So many from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. There's way too many. But like, yes, for the purposes of where you're leading this to, I think is...
Which I even forgot,
The question is like, you know, do you speak Hindu or do you speak?
Yeah, do you speak Muslim? Do you speak Muslim religions?
Do you speak Pakistani? Like, that's my favorite one. That doesn't top
Do you
anything
speak
else.
Pakistan? No, now I'm exaggerating. Nobody has ever said that. Nobody ever said that. Do you speak Pakistan?
Yeah, but do you speak Pakistani is like such a
huge.
Yeah.
Surprises me. It's 2020, guys.
Guys, 2020. Do you speak Pakistani?
Yeah.
Where the hell did Nian come from?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Nian, that's not even a word.
Yeah,
like,
now it is.
Now it is.
Maybe we're just confusing people because, like, right? Like, here we only have English, maybe Spanish to fall back on.
And then, like, the occasional, like, French, Arabic, and,
Italian. But, like, I get it.
But it's weird. Like, imagine you start saying to people, do you speak English? Do you speak English?
Yeah.
Do you speak English? Do you speak American? Like, what?
No, and then you tell them that you speak Urdu along with American, and then they're like, oh, is that from, like, Uzbekistan? I'm like, no! Urdu, no, it's not necessary that every language has to have the prefix and the suffix of the country in it. Do you speak Indian? Now that is something we need to unpack.
Yeah.
Do you mean I speak 50 languages?
Yeah.
What is Indian?
The mishmash of our culture with the Indian culture has got to stop. I'm working on a full semester project that has to do with this right now. And just like in the first week, I had to explain to the class what I was working on. And it took me literally 20 minutes to tell them that, hey, they're two different cultures.
Yeah.
And the teacher kept on saying, oh yeah, so Indian food, right? Because it's a food related project. So, but it's Pakistani food, but she was like, oh, so Indian food, right? Indian this, Indian that. And I was like, they're two different things, relax.
So the way I see it is kind of like diners in United States and Canada. Like, yes, they're serving the same thing, eggplant parm, but also some Chinese food. It's a mix. Both countries are melting pots. Both countries speak English. But remember, Canada also has French influence. So take that example and put it to Pakistan and India.
Yeah.
We can understand each other. Urdu and Hindi.
Yeah.
Both sides also have Punjabi.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can all speak similar things. We all have similar libas, clothing.
Yeah.
We all have similar food with slightly variants of spices.
Exactly.
But does that mean that they're the same? No.
There's so many different differences. Even just in like the entertainment industry too, ours is so much more different than.
Yep, and it's not necessary that everybody has poop color features because I know people that they don't have only just brown eyes. There are people with green eyes and blue eyes in Pakistan and India too. And they're like, are you serious? You're Indian? You don't look it.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
We have cousins that have like extremely green and grey eyes.
In Pakistan.
See?
Yeah, and she doesn't look Pakistani at all.
Yep. And then she opens her mouth, she's speaking Urdu.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, she's Pakistani.
Our own little sister doesn't look it at all. She's like the complete opposite of what we look like. I don't know where she got those genes from, but... But that doesn't mean she's not from there.
Exactly. And you know what? Like, I guess taking this understanding about culture, we can also put it with like age, right? Because it's like when you're younger, you have less of a filter. And when you're growing up with younger grades, it's like anyone will ask you anything, honestly.
Yeah.
Like explaining what Eid was to people on Christmas break was hell for me because like at the time I just want to talk about X-Men action figures. I don't want to talk about where I'm from. I mean, now I'm enthusiastic about my heritage, but growing up it's like it's not easy.
It's hard.
You know, it causes you a lot of distress when you're the only quote unquote brown guy on the field. And for me, maybe it was easier because my skin tone doesn't reflect a lot of people who have that experience of what it's like to be brownish.
Right.
100%. And you bring up such a good point, right? Like, every single year, I'm fasting and I'm not eating.
Yeah.
Not even water. Not even water.
Not even water? For 30 days? No. Sunrise to sunset every day for 30 days.
What if you faint?
So like, this is why I hate religion. I'm like, dude, look. Because it makes people not eat for 30 days. I'm like, can you do your research before you hate?
Yeah.
Please?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, or like, I would never do that for my religion or stuff like that.
Or would your family kill you if you didn't fast?
Yes.
No, it's not that big of a deal.
Would your mom care?
Yeah, would your mom care?
I don't know if it's like she cares. I think if it's I care.
Would the people like 7,000 miles that way be upset with you?
Oh my god.
But you could drink some. No one's watching.
Yeah, exactly. Your parents aren't here.
Your parents aren't. Your mom's not watching.
Yeah. Oh, does your mom cook the meal when you break the fast?
Yeah.
Or does your dad do it? Yeah. It's like a microaggression too, because they know that the women do the cooking.
I don't know. These are questions. These are things and comments that we've actually gotten.
Yeah.
Like, this is not. We can't make
Seriously.
this up. We can't make this
there
up.
was this one unfortunate year where I was at the same job for 2 Ramadans, and they were like, "Oh, but it started in a different month."
Yeah.
I remember. I'm like, yes, because
but the thing is, this is why I love my Jewish friends, because they understand like lunar calendars and different the shifting of different holidays. So I'm like, you know how that holiday? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get it now. Yeah. But anyways,
So is halal like kosher?
Yeah.
Halal, like,
I mean, but the thing is, what's really interesting is that a lot of people who eat halal also eat kosher.
Yes.
It's like the similar things.
Of course.
And you know what unites us all is, man, vegetarianism. Let me tell you. Everyone can eat everything.
Yeah, but then that also becomes a question. So does that mean you're vegetarian? Like, I get that question too.
I get that question too.
I get that question too.
Vegan or vegetarian in real life?
No,
but I know some Muslim people who are, and then they get assumed like, oh wait, because you're Hindu. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Oh my god!
That's really
as
funny.
if there's something wrong with being Hindu too, the way that they put the label. You know what I mean?
Right.
Same as when people assume that it's only women doing the cooking.
Yes.
But sometimes
What if the guy does the cooking?
it's just easier to say you're a vegetarian, honestly, or like pescatarian. But I love fish to begin with, and we all
Stop.
Me and my sister, we love fish. So
And what's the country in the South Asian Peninsula or the subcontinent that eats the most seafood? Bangladesh. I was gonna say Bengali, but Bangladesh. So now I'm being that ignorant guy. Are you Bangladesh?
Are you Bangladesh? Oh, do you eat a lot of fish? I see that on Twitter
See?
too, though.
The cuisine's different.
Yeah,
that was my point.
Yeah, they get a lot of like fish jokes. It's not even funny.
I love it. I love seafood so much.
I love seafood. Seafood is so good.
Yeah, what about you? You think you like seafood?
Yeah, I love seafood.
Yeah.
She loves seafood.
Imagine seafood with the haldi, the turmeric, and fish biryani.
Which reminds me.
What?
The new guess invention by the Americans. The golden milk.
You mean Native Americans?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, you
just
mean
Americans.
You mean us?
In Whole Foods.
You mean us, right?
Well, let me read
Golden milk.
Golden milk. Golden, kya kehte hain usko? Like, what did they... I saw it in Whole Foods, but they call...
Doodh haldi.
Well, yeah. But they say, all the new, like, the natural herb shops and, like, all these, like, wellness shops, they have this new thing called golden milk, and I was like, what is this?
This isn't new. You know, this is like 7,000 miles before Shah Rukh Khan's time.
Yeah, and I went to Whole Foods one day, and I saw it over there for $3.99 ki, like, a small bottle, and it said gold, and I was like, do they mean, like, haldi wala doodh?
Turmeric made in USA.
I was like, what? My mom used to make my sister drink that when she was sick.
And you would hold your nose with this horrible. And now everyone who does yoga is having it.
Yeah. Or like...
Every Karen on the planet knows what golden milk is.
Or like rose milk. Sharbat wala doodh.
Oh, sharbat wala doodh. Yeah, or
so
like Ruh Afza, but like without the syrup.
Yeah.
Dude,
these things are like... These things are selling for like a lot now. Like, especially when I saw this golden milk, I lost it. I was like... You mean haldi wala doodh? Like, still chill.
Are you telling me we could have been millionaires? Like,
yes, and we just saw an commercial, me and my mom, on TV, and this girl was like putting on golden stuff on her face, and she was like, "Oh, rejuvenated skin or whatever," and she was just putting on haldi on her face.
People do that before weddings.
I know. I was like, no way.
The same arranged marriages that people are shitting.
Bringing those traditions in.
It's so funny.
Everything you try to like. Actually, no. That's one of the aspects I like about our culture is like the herbal medicines and things like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, when you don't want it too much, it's like you're trying to unlearn it, but then it's like, oh my god, they bought it here.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even us.
I'm telling you, all these new wellness places, it's crazy.
Forget wellness. I saw long shirts for men everywhere and mandala printed sheets, gumbals. All the sheets that I get, like that are like those huge comforters that you see in my pics, they're from Urban Outfitters, not from Pakistan.
Oh my god!
And guess what it says? It says made in Afghanistan, made in Pakistan, made in India.
Yeah. They sell it for triple the price.
They sell it for triple the price. And then high-end designers take things like like things from our culture, like turbans and kurtas and ajraks and things from Sindhi culture, things from Punjabi culture, and they incorporate it in their style and they give no credit to anybody. The other day I I noticed people selling long shirts and they had like a cut on the sides and everything. I'm like, that's a kurta.
That's
buddy.
a kurta. Yeah.
That just makes me a little mad.
Just don't wear it with shorts.
Yeah.
It makes me mad because, like, I don't know. So there's a line between cultural appropriation and, like, appreciation for other cultures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay? So I feel like if I am... One day I want to decide that, you know, hey, I don't know how my hair look in dreadlocks. That's just me. That's just me trying on another, like, hairstyle from another culture because I just want to try it out on me and I appreciate it because of all the intricate work that goes into making dreadlocks happen. Okay, good. Right?
But are you giving credit where it's due?
Yeah, of course.
But it's not that you're being like, oh, I just came up with this, so I'm just going to do that.
I know. I just wore, I'm going to wear a bindi to Coachella. And it's my original idea. No, it isn't.
Coachella itself is like such a big area where they're just like taking stuff from especially our culture and like the South Asian culture, and then just putting it on themselves. Like,
I mean, look.
Henna tattoos
but
and
things
all that.
like henna tattoos are something that's cross-cultural. So you got it like Pakistan, India, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and also West Indies. Right? So you have all these cultures that use henna. But when you don't credit any of them, and you're like, this is a Coachella vibes. We got we got the henna tattoos. But where did it originate?
They just call it boho vibes, like boho.
Boho vibes. Actually, no. If they called it henna tattoos, then it's actually giving credit where it's due. But if they say boho vibes or Coachella vibes, and then they don't credit,
it's boho chic. Like, Vanessa Hudgens dressed in boho chic outfit. Like she's wearing a bindi. Like, okay.
No, but you see, then we were left with, you know, oh, your culture is oppression. You understand that, like, if we're not gonna get credit for the things that are being adapted here and used as whatever, we're left with the bottom of the barrel stuff.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that we're trying to unlearn, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Right? So I feel, I don't know, I think that, what is the key to this being more, I guess, out in the open or more being realized by people here, by the masses? I feel like
give credit where it's due.
Exactly.
Try to find out. Yeah, try to find out where this comes from. You know, when I see people selling like a small bag of turmeric for like $10.99, I'm like, I can go to my local brown uncle and buy that for like $6.
I know.
Like, chill. Like, try to find out why you're paying $10.99 for that stuff, and if you can find it somewhere cheaper, dig deeper. You know,
absolutely.
So stupid.
No, that's a really good point. Like, understand that, you know, if your clothes are being made overseas, it's because labor is cheaper.
Right.
And you know, it's not always about, not everything is don't take everything at face value.
Yeah.
Like I bought a kimono cardigan the other day and someone's like, nice cardigan. I'm like, no, this is a kimono. I'm wearing a kimono. I'm not here to give you a whole history lesson on Tokyo, but I'm here to tell you that, look, this is giving credit where it's due.
Educating people. Yeah. And that goes for us too. If we, like you just said, you know, trying on stuff from other culture, we should just, instead of just taking the compliment and being like, thank you should correct them. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I really enjoy the Latino culture. And even food too. It's like, we see at Costco and Whole Goods, Whole Goods. What the hell is Whole Goods? Whole Foods, you see.
New business idea. Whole Goods.
Home Goods, Whole Foods, Home Goods.
Ooh. Now we have two things that you organic furniture. That's awesome.
Anyways, but at all these grocery stores, you see like you got naan, but they're calling it naan bread, and it's like you got roti, but then you call it like roti flatbread. It's like, okay,
Indian spice chai.
It's just chai. Like, you know, these things bother us because we grew up in that culture. Now I understand it's to explain to people what it is, but it's like also like, sushi is not an American food. Like it comes from somewhere. Like pizza, you know, it comes from debating, you know, maybe 90% Italy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like just like I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
It's just Americanized versions of all these different cultures. You know, everything is like so fast, like fast food sushi and like fast food like pizza.
Golden milk.
Golden milk, like it's fast. So go to the roots of where the stuff came from, maybe, and experience the real thing. You know, we're not saying go to all these countries and experience this. No, why not you just self-educate yourself? A little bit. You know,
I mean, we wish you got the opportunity to visit these countries and experience. I like the point you made about roots. It's very important to understand your roots.
But that's what makes this country great too, right?
Yes.
We're home to so many people.
Yeah.
So let's appreciate what makes us like so amazing is like
assimilation. Exactly. The salad bowl.
Yeah.
Cultures on top of cultures mixed all in one bowl.
Exactly. So, but let's also remind ourselves to give credit where it's due.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, just because we all live together doesn't mean that we're discrediting anyone.
Exactly. Right. All these grocery talks reminds me of who does groceries in your house and why do you still live with your parents?
Yes!
Wait, you don't do the groceries yourself? Listen, we were talking about conditioning and roots, right? Finding out where these problems come from on a historical level. We were talking about India, Pakistan. We were talking about different languages. But now we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to talk about the dynamics of the household. So like growing up, what is the root cause of the bad brown boy?
Right.
What is the root cause of a brown female who doesn't feel empowered? Who had just been recently diagnosed with depression? Or feels like she can't be herself because of what the householder is gonna say. Not log kya kahenge, but ghar kya kahega.
Right.
Ghar ke log kya kahenge. What are the people at home gonna say?
Right.
And questions that they put into like the children's mind when they were growing up.
Or conditioning them to be a certain way, just like something minor as grocery shopping.
Yeah.
That only the women are gonna go do it and the men are kind of just gonna pick up the weight. Why can't both do both?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, it's a lot of conditioning. I mean, especially when we're kids, it's like you can see the micro transactions, like the men being conditioned to get everything and anything they want because they're essentially the retirement plan. And then the women, working because that's what they're expected to do the rest of their life after being married.
Right.
And it's like, we don't live in those times anymore.
Right.
But it's like, because we grew up in mixed households where it's like, okay, like we were also in Pakistan, we were also here. We're fluent in both languages.
Right.
We have a scope of both. We understand.
Yeah.
We see both sides.
Exactly.
Right.
You're right. A question that we got a lot and we still get is, you still live at home, you still live with your parents, you know, and a lot of what you just talked about ties into that question, right? Like, I feel, what you've just described is that, hey, roles are changing and evolving from what used to be in our culture. And, to tie one aspect of that we don't really, I don't see a lot, different is that, yes, brown kids or brown families, they have this culture of kids staying with the parents until they get married. Especially if you're if you are a girl, you get married and then you can, quote unquote, go to your home or whatever. I found myself describing this tradition to so many people.
Broken record.
It's like a broken record now that, yes, we live with our... So, and then there's this assumption, like you said, that you're doing that, or the idea is that this needs to happen because, like, the provider of, like, the whole thing is, a male. First your father or then your husband. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like this thing. So what you were just saying is like that has changed. That has evolved. And that's not the truth anymore.
Yeah.
They don't see the other side, which is you're basically providing for yourself while living with whoever you're living with, whether it be your dad or your husband or whatever. You're not asking for money from daddy every day. you're working your butt off for it. And even when you're getting married and then going off, living with your husband, it's not like you're asking hubs for money every day. You're working for it. So people just see the whole, you're living with them still.
Exactly.
So in brown culture, the 18 and moving out thing isn't not a thing. It's like you guys mentioned, it's like until you get married. However, I'm a big proponent of taking whatever situation you're in and making positive out of it. Or also, I'm a big proponent of not taking things at face value. So if somebody is living at home, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're irresponsible or they can't get a job, it's because that's the situation that they're just rolling with. Right? For example, like, when it comes to, as you were saying, like working your butt off for your own money, it's not the case in a lot of brown family homes, especially back home, where it's like the father figure, because they grew up with what they're trying to impose on their kids.
Right.
They're used to being the breadwinner.
Right.
So the fact that if you only go to school is actually not looked down upon.
Right.
There are many times in my life where I've had retail jobs and things like this where my parents would be like, no, why don't you just quit and focus on school? We'll take care of everything. That is a very popular way of conditioning, especially for, I mean, I feel like it happens with brown girls as well, but from my scope, I've seen it happen with brown guys.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. Our dad has always said, it doesn't matter where the money's coming from. Focus on your school. As long as you're doing well in school, that's all that matters, right? Mm-hmm. And that's good. But what happens is that the taste of the real world is just so important for you to keep yourself grounded in reality. And that's what I like about American culture. Yes, right. Exactly. Because they do promote that self-growth and be responsible and be your own person. Exactly. Because that's where the question comes from, right? Like, do you still live with your parents? The whole point of not living with a parent is though you're grown up, you're 18 and over, and et cetera, et cetera. But what we need to understand also is that that's an offensive question. Yeah. You know, and kind of exudes the assumption you're not old enough to take care of your own life, which is not the truth. And then, of course, like in our culture, it kind of, again, says, oh, if you're still under your parents', wings or your house, you're still somehow dependent on them. The reality is I know a lot of very cool brown people who are working towards or who have worked towards financial independence and even supporting their parents in return. So, overall, I think that general assumption of who is the breadwinner of the family, yada, 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 or if you live with your parents or not, should just be like, there should be just questions of like, how are you doing in life in general? Thank you for saying that, because it's like, don't assume, because a lot of people, not only in our culture, in a lot of Eastern cultures, a family is a unit. Yes. Family, immediate family is a westernized concept. Right. We don't have immediate family. We have an interconnected lock of people that care very dearly about each other. That's a great point you're making. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's where I think it comes from. Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of times explaining to people, I catch myself making that separation of immediate family and then distant family. Yeah, definitely. It's very joint. I mean, it depends on where you come from. I guess the other thing is though, it's like, you know how we always talk about equilibrium, we talk about balance. If you don't balance living with your parents, you can also get really spoiled kids as well. Yeah, and that also creates a problem in being ready for the real world. And you know what? It's always, from my experience, it's been the youngest who gets that treatment. When you're the youngest in a South Asian household, it's what you would think it is, but like on crack. Like it's really bad. Like you're what they call the ladla of the family. Yeah. So literally ladla meaning like the loved one, the teddy bear of the family. Even if you're 35, by the way. It doesn't matter, because there's this quote that says, "Tum hamesha hamare liye chote rahoge." Yeah, exactly. Meaning that you will always be the youngest. Now, we've already talked about in previous episodes how people don't take young generation seriously. Right. But this is a whole nother topic in that you're the youngest. Yes, they don't take you seriously, but also they want to meet all your wants. Not your needs, your wants. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And we experience that every day. Me and my older sister, we experience it every day. Fatma Danana? Very funny. Yeah, sorry. My mom, a lot of times she would like tell us to do something, and then we'll be busy, and then we'll be like, oh, like, Fatma, can you do this? And then my mom will be like, oh, I'll do it myself. Don't. Never mind, I'll do it myself. Like, okay. She has all of her limbs intact. Like, let her do it, please. No, and same with my older brothers. Like, the expectation is they're going to be doing everything, even though they don't live with us, because they have their own lives or whatever, and they're responsible adults. Right. Every time they come over, the responsibility is on them. Like, my parents would be asking them for everything, because, I mean, of course they ask me for help now. Right. But when I was younger and we all used to live together, oh my God, they would be doing everything. Right. I also think it's like, because,
like being the youngest child, as you're growing up, your parents are growing older, so they don't want to deal with like having to school another like third kid about like everything all over again. So they just like let it be.
But the thing is, that's more for brown guys, the let it be thing, I feel like. Especially mothers. Like moms, when they have brown guys as kids, like this is why they're like that.
I'm cringing so hard right now.
No, because you know those people. Yes, they might look really, really hot in a black kurta with a gold chain and the sleeves rolled up, because that's a TikTok trend right now.
Well, yeah, but then their mother is feeding them literally.
Yeah, oh my god, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean the mother's feeding them? What do you mean?
We have to do this.
What? What do you do?
At a recent family event.
What?
There was a 20-year-old guy. Who was fully capable of feeding himself. But his mom came and she started feeding him chane and naan. And then she asked him if he would like another, if Mera beta would like another naan.
See this? Oh my god.
So she was actually like making the bites for him and putting it in his mouth.
And he was happily taking them.
Alright guys, it's been a great episode. We're ending early. I need to leave.
Yeah, so the brown mom and the brown guy son relationship is just something I'm never gonna be able to. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong, it's very nice, but like sometimes it's so extreme that I just look in like disbelief. I can't.
So stop letting them go with everything. You know what I mean? The brown son comes home at 3 a.m. from a hookah bar and it's okay.
It's completely fine.
Yeah, and then the girl who went to actually study or not, because we know those girls too. Don't lie.
Or go to study or with their friend, or go to meet up with a friend at about, and it's like 5 p.m. and it's like, where's she?
Yeah, I know, it's like not even 6 and they're like, oh my god, Meri beti kahan hai? Where's my daughter? Oh my god, this Western world has ruined her.
Yeah.
Ruined her how? She's at the library. I mean, look, I know we're generalizing.
Yes.
But the thing is, like, I know we're generalizing, but a lot of people, we know that they sneak out and stuff, okay? Yeah. But even if they do, they're coming home at 7, come on, please,
But like the thing is, even if you're like being 100% honest, like being like, I'm gonna go, like, do whatever, hang out with this is, it's still like, it's still looked down upon. It's still like,
And then you get a lot of questions about that.
Yeah. Were there any boys?
Yeah.
Well, not only from the family, not only questions from like fam, but like also questions from like friends. Right? Like, why do you have a curfew? Or like, why do you have a...
That was the questions we got growing up.
Yeah.
That's
you have a curfew? Yeah. Like, no, honey, I have a curfew for life. I can't explain to you right now.
Honey, I have kids and I still have a curfew.
Explaining, that's why I feel like we've always picked and choose our friends, who understands and who doesn't. If somebody doesn't, then they're not worth the time to even explain to.
Right. And she makes a really good point, because even I have figured that the only people who accept you as you are and your culture as you are, and the people that you're going to be comfortable bringing home, in friends, and not like judge you, are the people who are just gonna understand that yes, every culture is different. Right? And every culture looks different. It's gonna
have culture within culture.
Yeah.
That's like one of our main things today. It was like we have cultures within culture.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And relatable to other cultures too. My best friend, she's the same way, like I feel like her life is the same way as mine. She also has so many, I don't want to call them curfews, because in our case, like me and my sisters, we don't really have curfews. It's more like the responsibility on our mind that, we have to be home by a certain time.
See, but that's good parenting.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Our parents aren't going to be like, oh my god, like,
we've been out. I mean, yes, you are 100% right.
I think, how do I explain our situation? I feel like it's in the back of our minds, we're like, it's a certain time we should head
back. Let me put it to you this way. Like, if I have absolutely worked my butt off for like 5 weeks, and then I make a plan to hang out with my classmates or my friends till like 2 a.m., they know and I know that there's a balance, and they have no worries about me coming out.
And understanding. This was really good to have friends that understand your culture and culture. And you as an individual and you as a part of whatever family you're from, not just Pakistani as a label.
But if I was doing that every night, of course,
like if you're blowing away schoolwork and just going out every night, you know. But I feel like going back to our brown son thing, not to judge or anything, but they do that.
No, it's very popular. It's very, very okay. Unfortunately, I'm saying this. I've met a lot of South Asian people through my college years, and I've seen that every guy has had that.
So do they not get questions about their like quote unquote studies? Like
I guess they do, but the thing is, the pressure is not that much because again, birth order and depending on how strict the parents are. I've noticed the more strict and restrained the parents are, like the more rebellious the kids become. Like they're like sneaking out. Like your dad is like the administrator at the mosque, and you're like out here like at this club like.
The hookah lounge.
No, to drink. No, I meant like serious stuff too, like dealing.
Ooh.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen things like this happen.
Question mark.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it and not judge.
Yeah, and then they come home and their mom's like, yeah.
Hopefully there's no evil eye around you because you look so great right now, even though your eyes are red. I don't know why.
But you're right. Like your best friend is actually of Hispanic heritage,
right? And she has the same exact thing as me. You know, she knows she has to be home by a certain time. There's been so many times where we make definite plans, and then she's like, "Hey, listen, I can't do this because my dad wants me to do this." And then I can't be mad. I mean, yes, there have been times I've met, but like you understand in the end that hey, she understands when I'm canceling, so I have to understand. You know, it's like you understand the responsibility.
Yep.
So you have to really pick and choose your friends who gets it and who doesn't.
Because there's always going to be people with like a lot of questions, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that you said that. I wish people could saw my face. Wow, look at that! Oh my god, seen my face?
Yeah.
How do you English? Yeah, seen my face.
Seen my face.
Anyways, guys, I feel like a burden has been lifted off my shoulders. I mean, like all of our episodes, I always feel like a lot has gotten off my chest.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I hope that the people listening understand, like, through our comedy, to get your attention back if you dazed off. Come back.
Please.
Listen to us. I feel like by sharing our stories, we can empower others to promote understanding within the individual and the group.
Yeah.
Right? That's our main purpose. And to have, like, relatability with people.
Exactly.
Like, I have a relatability with you guys. You guys make me feel like I'm not alone in a lot of things. So...
Same.
Hopefully our bond can promote other people to have good bonds as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
Thank you guys so much. I believe the answer to the questions that we got is ask.
Yeah.
Right.
Ask and you shall receive. But ask in a way that is careful, educated, and understanding. Yes. All right? Thank you everyone for listening. And until next time, take care. And don't worry about
Lo Kahenge.
Yeah!